There was a time that I thought that the increased vagrancy was just particular to Grants Pass. But in my moving around in the last months and living in Salem a lot over that period of time, I've seen vagrancy is growing everywhere. Los Angeles has become the vagrant capital of the world. Salem, Oregon has a huge problem. Grants Pass has a tremendous problem. So we have some kind of societal shift here that is leading to this increased vagrancy. And I think the more we studied it, it became apparent that a lot of folks who are homeless are not there by choice. A lot of folks who are vagrants are that by choice. I see that as the great difference. There are a number of people in this community who choose to be vagrants. They like being vagrants, and they are the takers of the world and not the makers of the world. Whereas a number of the people who are homeless are that way through many reasons, but in many cases through no fault of their own. They are people who, if they had employment, if they had a good job, life would be much different for them.
Grants Pass without the mission would be such a difficult place to help the community. And I say that because the community relies on police officers to connect the dots. So if I have someone who's had a crime committed and they're a victim, they want me to find the person, hold them accountable, and get them to jail. If somebody basically is homeless, if somebody's life is just at that place, they don't know how to get help, the mission provides my department the opportunity to connect those dots and get them the help they need. If that doesn't exist, it's got to be the most frustrating and disappointing place that I could ever find myself or my department being, because I don't have that opportunity to help those people.
And ultimately in law enforcement, our number one priority is public safety as well. And sometimes people get in a place where they just need help and don't know how to get out of the circumstances where they're at. And so what we find is the mission provides a place where people can go to be safe, and where otherwise there's exposure to the elements, there's exposure to crime or drugs or other items that are going on in the community. The mission can be a safe haven to get a new start. As a Christian, our ultimate calling is to love God and to love others. And to have that opportunity through the mission to love on people where they're at is just such a fundamental function that we have to have as a community.
One of the ministries we have at River Valley is a firewood ministry, where there's a group of men and women who deliver firewood to families in need. Well, a few years back, my mother, who's in her 60s, was volunteering with this ministry, and she told me about how they went to deliver wood at this one house, and they pulled in, and it was a really nice house, and there was a really nice car in the driveway. And her first thought was, why are we giving this person wood? They can buy their own wood. Well, as she heard the story from one of the ministry leaders, this is a woman who had lost her husband. And again, they had bought their house when it was at the peak of the market. So there was a payment and they couldn't get out from under the house. And the same thing with the car. So she now has no income, and she had gone 3 months with no power. And she was struggling to get by. So what you see on the surface isn't necessarily what's going on underneath the surface. And those people are oftentimes one step away. And that's, again, with a mission here, I love that when those people actually fall into that last step, where they missed that last payment and now they've completely lost that home, you guys provide a safe cushion for them to be able to recoup, gain some skills or whatever it takes to get them back on their feet.
A little over a year ago, a man who had been in the Gospel Rescue Mission came to our church fellowship. And I got to know him. He started coming to one of our men's Bible studies. And as I got to know him and hung out with him, he started telling me his story. And this is one of those guys who was an up and outer who ended up as a down and outer. And he had some issues to work through. Had no place to live or stay. So he was at the mission for a while, and he was getting back up on his feet. I got to know him pretty well, and he was at church a lot. I can tell you that today, he is totally different person. He is so excited about Jesus Christ. He is taking back what he is learning to a broken home situation, and he's impacting his family for Jesus Christ.